Hello friends, welcome to the next session. In continuation the previous one, in the previous lecture we saw about greedy approach, and very good example of greedy approach is Huffman codes. Huffman codes, as the name suggests, it is a coding scheme which is used to reduce the size of your file. So let us look at it in detail. So Huffman coding is a lossless data compression algorithm which uses the greedy technique for its implementation. We already know greedy technique. What is a greedy approach? You make the decisions at a local level to achieve a goal of a global level, right? So at each local level, you take a decision. The algorithm is based on the frequency of characters appearing in a file, right? The idea is to assign variable length codes to input characters. The lengths of the assigned codes are based on the frequencies of corresponding characters. That means a file consists of number of characters, then you count how many times a particular character is appearing. That is nothing but the frequency of that particular character. The most frequent character gets the smallest code and the least frequent character gets the largest code. Now, we know our files are stored as binary codes in a computer, and each character of the file is assigned a binary code of 8 bits each. So every character is assigned a binary code using the same number of bits, that is 8 bits. There's a string like A, B, B, C, D, A, D can require 64 bits, that is nothing but 8 bytes for storage or transmission. If you look at this side, now these are the characters with a fixed length code. Like each and every character here is represented using the length of the code as 3 length code, right? Right? But Huffman code doesn't use this fixed length code. Huffman code uses variable length code, right? So this needs to, it's not fixed length code, it is variable length code. Okay, just make a change when you read it. It is not fixed, it is variable length code, right? So it doesn't use this fixed length code, it uses variable length code. So what does that variable length code means? It depends on the frequency of the character appearing in the file, right? It assigns a shorter length code word for a character which is used more number of times, that is as high frequency, and a longer length code for a character which is used less number of times, that is it has less frequency. So here, if you can see here, A length code is 1 because A's frequency in the file is high, and C's length code is 3 because its frequency is low. So more times a character is appearing in the file, the lesser will be its code size. The less number of times a character appears in the file, right, the size of its code will be larger as compared to the high frequency one. Fine. Okay, now let us look at it in a detail. So since the characters which have high frequency has lower length, they'll take less space and save the space required to store the file. So let us look at this example now. Now these are the characters A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Which are having a frequency. So let us say there are 100 characters in a file. If you count total sum these all, this becomes 100 characters, right? Out of 100 characters, A is appearing 51 times, B is appearing 20 times, C is appearing 2 times, D is appearing 3 times, E is appearing 9 times, and F is appearing 15 times. That is nothing but the frequencies of the character. That is frequency of A is 51. A is appearing 51 times out of 100. Now, if you assign fixed length for all the characters, then this will be the code of 3 bits for each character, right? A, for A, we have 000, for B, 001, then 010, so on and so forth, right? Now, if you are using a variable length, as in case of Huffman code, what we use variable length code, then code for A will not be 3 bits, it has only a single bit 0. Code for B is 111. Code for C is of size 4. For D size 4, for E size 3, and for F is also size 3. So A is appearing 51 times out of 100, so its code length is only of size 1, right? Whereas B is appearing 20 times out of 100 and its code length is 3. C is appearing only twice in the whole file out of 100 characters. Its code length is of size 4. Fine. So now let us check how many bits are required if you encode this data using fixed length code. So characters of fixed length code. So 100 total number of characters in the file are 100, right? And you are using 3 bits to encode each character. right? They're using fixed 3 bits to encode each character. So how much it will become? 100 into 3, that is 300 bits. Why? Because each character is taking 3 bits. So this file will need 300 bits to be stored, right? To represent 100 characters. So to represent 100 characters, it will need 300 bits. Similarly, if you are using a variable length code, now how do you calculate? It will be age appearing 51 times, so it will be 51 into 0. That is 1. Size of the code length is 1. And 20 code length is that B is appearing 20 times and its code length is 3. So 20 into 3. C is appearing 2 times out of 100 and its code length is 4. So 2 into 4. Similarly, D is also 3 into 4. Right? 9 is, E is 9 into 3. And F is 15 into 3. Right? When you carry out this, how many bits you get? You get 203 bits. You can see the difference. It is 300 bits and now it is directly reduced to 203 bits. So why you are using variable length coding? Then you save 32% of space, right? Because the code word is of variable length. Is it fine the difference between fixed length and why we should go for variable length? And Huffman code uses variable length coding. The next what you have is a prefix codes. This is one of the important things what we should know. In a variable length code word, only those codes are used which are not prefix of any other character, and these codes are known as prefix codes, right? So in case of variable code word, we don't have prefix codes. We don't use prefix codes. Why we don't use? Let us look at this an example. Suppose you use 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0 to represent A. A is represented 0, B is represented as 1, C is represented as 0, 1, and D is represented as 1, 0, respectively, right? Now, so 0 is prefix of 0, 1 and 1 is prefix of 1, 0, right? Now, suppose you have this code which you need to translate back into the characters. You are given a code 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. Now, how will you translate it? Now, 0 is represented by A, right? So, it can be A, B, A, B. This is one way. Another way can be what? A and 0, 1 is C, right? 0, 1 is C. So it can be A, it can be C, right? And it can be C. It can be A, C, C. Otherwise, again, it can be A, D, and B. A, 1, 0 is D, and 1 is D. So the same code can be translated in more times. You can have different translations for the same code, right? That means it becomes ambiguous. So to avoid this ambiguity, we use prefix codes, right? So using prefix codes makes decoding unambiguous. For example, the previous example, if you see, you don't use prefix codes here because you don't use a prefix of one symbol to another symbol. If you look at the previous example here, ABC, what we had, right? So A is represented 0, B is represented as 111, C is represented as 1100. Now here if you can see 0 is not prefix of these, right? 111 is not prefix of C. So none of the symbols are prefix of any other symbol, right? So none of the code is prefix of any other code, and thus any combination of these codes will decode into unique value. So example again, if you take 0, 111, 110, it will uniquely decode into ABC only. Why? A is represented by 0, B is represented by 111, and C is represented by 1100. There is no other way you can decode this. Fine. So this is the concept what is used by Huffman code. Now, when you're designing a Huffman code, there are two major steps involved in it. The first step is what? Build a Huffman tree from the input characters. And second is what? Traverse the Huffman tree and assign codes to characters. So let us first build a Huffman tree from the input. Now, what are the steps to build a Huffman tree? Input is an array of unique characters along with the frequency of occurrences. Right? Remember, unique characters along with the frequency of occurrences. We'll be using a table here. Now create a leaf node of each unique character and build a min heap of all leaf nodes. Min heap is used as a priority queue. The value of frequency field is used to compare two nodes in the min heap. Initially, the least frequent character is a root. Fine. Now extract two nodes with the minimum frequency from the min heap. Create a new internal node with the frequency equal to the sum of the two node frequencies. Now make the first extracted node as its left child and the other extracted node as its right child. Then you can add this node to the min. You can repeat the process 2 and 3, steps 2 and 3 until the heap contains only one node and the remaining node is the root node of the tree. Now the tree is complete. So we look at all these steps will be more clear once we look at an example. So let us look at an example and start building a Huffman tree. Now this is the heap tree, what is given. This is the input, where the characters and the frequency. So what we do, the very first thing is we sort the table frequencies in ascending order. So now this becomes our main heap because the top ones are the minimum ones, right? So you can even call this as a main heap, which is represented as a list here, a queue here. Fine. The very first thing, you are given a set of characters, you are given a set of frequencies, sort them in ascending order. Now this input is ready to create a Huffman tree. Fine. Now, so here you have the character and the frequency, and you can even call this as a min heap because the very topmost are nothing but the minimum codes with the minimum characters with the minimum frequency. So what we do, you extract two nodes, 1 and 2, right, from the minimum frequency from the heap and add a new internal node. Here x1 is an internal node, right, with the frequency of this node becoming the sum of the frequencies of this internal input nodes, right? So now G is with frequency 1, D is with frequency 3. So this is one input node, this is second input node. You sum up the frequencies of these two nodes and create a new internal node, and new internal node frequency will be sum of this and this. So 1 plus 3, that is 4, and the new internal node we have named it as x1, right? So internal nodes will be shown in blue color and the input nodes will be shown in pink color. Okay, now once you extract this, once you extract two nodes, now whatever new internal node you have generated, insert it back into the heap, maintaining the minimum property. So again, x1, that is the internal node, is inserted into the heap and the frequency is 4. Fine. Now this is the next input. Now this table will be the input, or this heap is the input for the next step. Now again we extract two frequencies with the two characters with the minimum frequencies. So two nodes with the minimum frequency. Here you have x1, that is internal node 4, and your input node E, that with the 4. So what you do, you extract these two, right, and combine them to form a new internal node, that is x2. So right, x1 is already existing. You add a new input node E with the frequency 4 and combine these two nodes using another internal node, that is x2, by adding the frequencies, right? So frequency is 8, that is 4 plus 4. Is it clear? So you extracted x1, you extracted E, and you combine these using a new node, that is x2. Now what you'll do, you'll insert this back into the heap. You extracted these two, now input, insert this back into the heap. So x2 is inserted into the heap with 8. x1 is removed, E is removed. Now you have the new insertion, that is internal node x2 with the frequency 8. Now this is the input for our next step. Now again extract the next two minimum, that is 8 and 10. So x2 and A will be combined now with another internal new node, that is x3. So A is the input node, x2 is the internal node, right? Now you combine these two into a new internal node. We name it as x3 and you add the frequencies. That is 10 plus 8, that is 18. Is it fine? So now what? x2 is extracted, A is extracted, and now what will be inserting? Will be inserting x3. Now when you are inserting the x3, see to that you maintain the min heap property, right? The minimum, right? So x3 has the highest frequency, so it will be added at the end, right? The table should always be sorted from the frequency point of view. Is it fine? X3 is added at the end because its frequency is 18, which is highest. Now for the next step, this will be the input. This table will be the input for the next step. Now you have character C, you have character F with the frequency 12 and 13. So create an input node and combine them using a new internal node. So input node of C with the frequency 12, input node F with the frequency 13. And these two nodes are combined using an internal node X4 with the frequency 25. This is nothing but the addition of 12 and 13. Right? So this tree is already existing, and this is again one more tree what we have created. Now what? Insert X4 into the heap, right? So you have extracted C, you have extracted F, now you have inserted X4. Now X4's frequency is 25, so it will be inserted at the end, right, as per the ascending order. Now this will be input for the next step. Now what you will extract? You will extract B and you will extract X3. X3 frequency is 18, B is 15, so create a new node 15, that is input node 15. X3 is already an internal node. Combine these two to form a new internal node X5 with the frequency 33. That is 15 plus 18, which is nothing but 33, right? And this subtree is already existing as it is. X4 is already existing as it is. Now what you'll do, you'll insert X5 into the table, right? So X4 is already existing. X5 frequency is 33, so it is added after X4. So this is what the heap contains now. Only two data, two nodes X4 and X5, both are internal nodes with the frequency 25 and 30. Now this will be the next input. Now what you do, extract 25, extract 33 and combine them. So 25 and 33 are combined using another internal new node X6, we call it as, by adding the frequencies 25 and 33, which is nothing but 58, right? And what is now X6 is a new node what is created, internal node, so just add it to the heap. So it has now only one node with the frequency 58. Since internal node with the frequency 58 is the only node in the queue, it becomes the root of the upment. So every time last node in the heap is the root of the upment tree. Now this is your complete upment tree. You can see upment tree is a binary tree. It's a binary. Fine, and it looks like a min heap also. Why? The root has always, the value of root key is always greater than its children, right? Okay, now next look at the next step here. Next step is what? Traversing. Fine. Now when you're traversing the upment tree, what you do first, you create a temporary array, right? And you start traversing from the root. So as you go to the left side, keep on adding zeros. As you go to the left side, keep on adding 0. As you go to the right side, keep on adding 1. Right? So add 0 to array while traversing the left side and add 1 to array when you are traversing the right side. And then at the end, you can print the array element whenever you reach the leaf node. These are the leaf nodes. All pink color nodes are leaf nodes. All blue color nodes are the internal nodes. Fine. So as you traverse on the left side, keep on adding 0. As you traverse on the right side, keep on adding 1. So here left is 0, right is 1, left is 0, right is 1, left is 0, right is 1. Fine. Similarly, here left is 0, right is 1. Now this is nothing but encode. So using this structure, we do the coding. We look at a simple thing. Now what is the code generated for A? Right? So what is the code generated? Start from the root again and follow the path to A. So you read 1, 1 and 0. You read A, reach A, right? So the code for A is what? 1, 1, 0. Now similarly, code for B will be what? 1, 0 is a code for B. And code for C will be what? 0, 0. Code for C will be 0, 0. Code for B is 1, 0. Code for A is 1, 1, 0. Now similarly, code for D is what? How do you reach D? 1, 1, 1, 1 and 1. So 5 times 1 is code for D. Right? 5 times 1 is code for D. Its frequency is 3. Right? Similarly, code for G will be 1, 1, 1, 1, and 0. That is 4 times 1 and 0 is 4 for 0. Now, if you look at it very carefully, the characters with highest frequencies has less code length. Code length is very small, right? As compared to the characters with less frequency, the code length is quite large as compared to this, right? Here the code length is only 2, here the code length is 5. Is it fine? So this is coding of characters using your Huffman tree. So using Huffman tree, these are the Huffman codes which are generated for these characters, right? And size of the Huffman code depends on the frequency of the characters, how many times it is appearing in the file. Now, after doing coding, let us encode it. Suppose the code is given, we should be able to convert it back into the characters. So again, we'll be using the same tree here. Suppose let us say this is the code which is given and you need to decode it into characters. So how you start? You start from the root, right? And what is the first thing what you read is 0. So directly go to the left side 0, right? And then next what you read is 1. So after reading 1, you go to leaf node. So print whatever is the leaf node. Leaf node is what? F. So 0, 1 is printed as decoded as F. Now, next what you read is again 1. So go back to root. 1 is going to the right side. Again you read 1. Again you read 1. Again you read 1 and then you read 0. So what you read? The you read a leaf node, that is G. So print G, right? So it is very simple to code and decode it. And there is no ambiguity here because none of the codes are prefix of other codes. Is it fine? Okay. Now let us look at some advantages of Huffman code. It saves lots of storage space, as we already saw the example of 300 bits and 203 bits. Since the binary codes generated are variable in length, it generates shorter binary codes for encoding symbols or characters that appear more frequently in input string. We saw the more number of times you appear, lesser will be the size of the code. The binary codes generated are prefix free. As I said, none of the codes are prefix of another code. Now, each and everything along with the advantages also has some disadvantages. Huffman codes are suitable only for encoding text and program files that are unsuitable for encoding digital images. You cannot use Huffman coding to encode digital images. It is a relatively slower process since it uses two passes, one for building the tree model and another one is for encoding. Thus, the lossless techniques that use Huffman encoding are considerably slower than the others. Why? We already saw the two major steps. First, you create a Huffman tree, and then as you traverse it, you assign zeros and ones. So 0 on the left side, 1 on the right side. Since length of all binary codes is different, it becomes difficult for the decoding software to detect whether the encoded data is corrupt. Right? Because you don't know, if the size is fixed, you know, okay, if you have some extra bit, you can say this is something wrong here. But here the size itself is variable. So even if there is some error, then it is very difficult to detect it. Fine. Now these are the two examples what I want you all to try. Create a Huffman tree using this table and again create a Huffman tree using this table. I hope the concept was clear. It's a very good example of greedy approach. What we do here we create a tree using bottom-up approach. First you use the leaves and then you create the root. What we did, we took two nodes and then we combined it using an internal node. So internal node is the root for these two input nodes, right? So Huffman tree uses bottom-up approach of creation like B trees. B trees also uses bottom-up approach. Whereas rest of the trees, what we have learned, AVL tree, binary search tree, red black trees, they all use top-down approach. First you create the root and then you start inserting the nodes into it. I hope the concept is clear. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.